What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rosie Wrestling. My name is Saif.
And I'm Massa.
And today we're going to be talking about one of the recent things in the news. Shawn Michaels has actually come out and said that he is open to wrestling one more match, whether that be a high-profile match or whether that be a kind of throwaway tag match with Triple H, just kind of something like, maybe on like a Raw Anniversary show or something like that. I don't really see it happening at a WrestleMania or anything like that, but I kind of compare that to maybe like a Taker Cena match, where the one that went like 2 minutes. So I know a lot of people are excited for this, the prospect of this happening. Obviously, Shawn Michaels being one of the greatest of all time, but at the same time, he has been retired now for over 8 years. So if he does want to come back, it might be just a little bit too late for that. He is still in his mid-50s, and Taker is still wrestling, barely, but he's still wrestling. But how do you feel about the prospect of him coming back and having a high-profile match?
So, start things off with, if you know anything about me, you know my favorite wrestler of all time is Shawn Michaels. I'm crazy for him, but I think it's too late in his career. I think he's too old. He's almost 53, and the cool thing about Shawn is he left on such a beautiful note, and he left on top. We never really saw a huge dip and decline with his in-ring ability. So I'm kind of worried if he comes back, he won't be able to keep up with whoever he's going to wrestle. I feel like he's just a little bit older. I know he's in really great shape, but just, you've been rusty for so long. I don't think that it's the best idea. And also just, he left in such a great way. He was retired by one of the greatest of all time in The Undertaker. So I just don't think it really makes sense for him to come back. I know, of course, like the dream matches like against like AJ Styles, of course that's amazing, but I feel like it's just a few years too late for that.
Yeah, the thing is with his career, like you said, he left on top, but he's so smart because a lot of wrestlers don't know when to leave. So I think just in like a sports analogy, usually athletes, I know wrestlers aren't technically athletes, but athletes are, most of them, they don't know when to retire. They usually stay a little bit too long. Maybe they want a little bit more money. Maybe they're just trying to chase a ring or a championship or whatever, and they just don't know when to retire. We didn't see that decline. We didn't see,
it's getting kind of old now.
Yeah, like we could have seen him probably wrestle another 5 years. Probably not at the same quality and not the same level, but the thing is with HBK, he left at the perfect time. And here coming back, especially 8 years later, it's not like 1 or 2 years.
Right.
He hasn't been in the ring for 8 years. And me personally, my theory of why he wants to come back is probably because he's been around the business so much recently. Mm-hmm. I know he's agenting a lot of NXT matches and just working with those young guys. It's kind of giving him, the wrestling bug again. So he wants to just come back and, do whatever. But I don't think it will work out, because if it does happen, which honestly right now I think it's 50-50. I don't think he would just say this just to say it. And in this day and age, you never know. I mean, Daniel Bryan, we didn't think he was going to be cleared, and he got cleared. But the thing is with Shawn, if he goes against, I could see it go, honestly, only AJ Styles. I don't really see any other way. Because Johnny Gargano, they're saying, he might have a match with Gargano. Well, he's not even on the main roster yet.
Right.
That's one. Second of all, even if he does get on the main roster, maybe after SummerSlam or something like that, do you think he's going to be put right with like someone like Shawn Michaels?
Right.
That's crazy.
Like a legend.
No, he's probably going to be wrestling like, Ty Dillinger and those guys. I don't see him going right to HBK. But if he has this match with AJ, if at a WrestleMania or whatever, it could be all glamorous and whatever it is. But like this day and age, you can't really give a lot of time at WrestleMania.
Right. But also, like, even if you did give them time, he's really a lot older now, and I just don't want him to come back and, like, null everything that he did before, and just, like, everyone remembers him from...
I don't think that's possible. I don't think he will null anything.
Okay,
he could come back and have a squash match and at the same time. Because also another thing is, I don't want to doubt him because I know how good he is. Because I also doubted Jericho. I know Jericho wasn't retired for 8 years, but I doubted Jericho with his match with Omega, and he, in my opinion, he had the greatest match of his career against him. So I'm not gonna say Shawn Michaels is gonna have this like 6-star classic against freaking AJ Styles or whatever. But at the same time, I think it's best to keep him retired. He left in the perfect way. He's already one of the greatest of all time. if not the greatest in-ring worker of all
He doesn't
time.
have to prove anything.
Yeah, you have nothing to prove. At this point, I think it would be the wrong decision.
And also, like, with wrestling at this moment, it's just all over the world, Japan, like Mexico, everywhere. It's just been really good. Like, just the in-ring action has improved drastically from a few years ago. So I think I don't think he's jealous, but he sees all this wrestling around him and sees all of the amazing things and just like the potential opponents, because there's just so many people. Of course you would want to see like Kenny Omega versus Shawn Michaels or anybody, you know, like still it's such a big deal at this point because there's so many amazing talents. So I think he's thinking, oh, like I would love to have a match with him and a match with him and a match with him. Like these are all dream matches, but also like it's too late.
Because then when does it become, you know, like, oh, he wants to have one more match, and then he's just like, all right, screw it, we'll just become a part-timer like what Triple H is.
And even like when he came back in 2002, it was supposed to be one more match. He had another 8-year career.
Yeah, I mean, he was still young,
right?
There, but see, looking at it also, you know, I think WWE needs to like just kind of go away from this part-timer thing, because you look at the roster now, and you look at, you know, add in those part-timers that could possibly wrestle at next year's WrestleMania. A lot of those wrestlers on the main roster are not going to have a chance on the WrestleMania card, because the card is so stacked, and you're only going to have max 15 matches. So there's only so much you can do. So you have guys like Taker, Cena, Triple H, Kurt Angle that probably need to have a match on that card, and then you add guys like The Rock or Batista that could possibly come back and have a match on that card. Lesnar as well. So it just kind of shows you, it's like, okay, now we have to add Shawn Michaels to that mix. So now Shawn Michaels now has to have.
But he's also going to be taking the place of someone like a Seth Rollins, or just everyone else is going to be thrown into the battle royal. It's not really fair. I'm okay with part-timers to an extent, but I feel like just adding more and more doesn't really help.
Exactly. And at this point, I mean, I understand they're using part-timers because they're not making organic stars, because obviously we'd much rather see Shawn Michaels and Triple H and all those guys than a lot of the guys on the main roster. But how do you make stars? That's the thing. That's not going to help them make stars by getting these part-timers in, unless they're going to try to elevate, which, you know, they kind of do. It's kind of a mixed bag with them.
Right.
But yeah, that's our thoughts on Shawn Michaels possibly coming back. Personally, I don't want it to happen.
Same.
I just want him to stay retired. He's one of my favorites of all time.
But also, like, we're planning on going to Mania next year, and if he is, I'm just, like, at this point conflicted, because, of course, I would love to see him wrestle live. Like, that would be the craziest thing ever.
So tell us what you think about this whole situation in the comment section below.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Rosie Wrestling, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!